Ready? We are.
Mm-hmm.
All right, people. I didn't get a chance to put the name in there.
Okay. Did you do, are you in, you're not in the group, right? You're on the page?
We're on the page, yeah. We're live, honey. We're talking to people, yes.
Hi! No one's there yet.
Yeah.
Hello! For those that are going to be, Shakia!
What's up, Shakia?
honey? Girl, I laughed so hard last, it just shows how unconnected I am. I laughed so hard, Shakia, after I realized that Dorian was the hurricane, not your man, honey, not your man.
She's an interesting person.
Who?
You, baby.
Baby, you didn't know that either.
Who?
Neither of us was watching.
I wasn't looking.
And that's a shame.
No.
Hi, Darnell.
I knew who Dorian was.
Baby, stop.
She just mad, y'all, because she thought Dorian was a person and she wants me to join her in the green.
Well, Dorian is a person, but Shakia was referring to...
The storm, baby.
Yes, she was referring to the storm, and you didn't know that either, honey. Let's just be honest.
That's what the millions of people all last week were referring to, baby. Sorry, honey, it's okay.
I felt bad. What's up, Kateria, babe? I didn't tell you I got a chance to see Kateria this past weekend when I was in Florida.
Oh, okay. Good stuff.
Yeah, next time we actually got to do something together, you know what I mean? It's like smoothies or something.
Hey, you guys, can y'all see us okay? Give me a thumbs up. Because I adjusted our lighting. I just want to make sure you guys can see us. Seems a little dark on the bottom, but I just want to make sure.
Okay.
Before we start today.
Magda!
What's up,
Magda? Exactly, Kateria, right.
What's she
Okay,
saying?
you guys just take a few minutes and go ahead and share the post if you can, please. Today we are talking about money matters within the marriage, but also before the relationship actually starts. So I think that's important too for us to all, have those together, right, babe?
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
important.
So I think we should back up a little bit, babe.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
We're too close?
Yeah, because I had the camera up higher.
Oh.
Okay, so hey, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I forgot to put the title in the live today.
Yes, but it's money matters.
Money matters. Money matters.
Yes.
One of the biggest struggles in marriages is around money.
Mm-hmm.
And we took some notes so that we don't lose track of anything because there's just so much to cover around this subject. I don't even know. Well, hopefully we can get through it all today. If not, we'll just do a part 2 next week.
Because there's a lot of information that we want to share.
Exactly. And we don't want to go too long today. So the first thing, by the way, if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to put them in the comments. Yes. All right?
Yes.
If you have any comments or even concerns you want us to address, put them in the comments as well.
Yes.
Because we will stop and check those just to make sure that we're addressing them.
Absolutely.
So, all right, let's jump in here. The first one that I've got, babe, that we wrote down earlier was the good and the bad around money. The good and the bad around money. And I think there's so many things in both categories, but I'm just going to hit just one or two real quick that are really, really the strong ones. Around money, the bad thing is that there are different types of people around money.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good and a bad thing because when you get with someone who is I shouldn't say opposite, but you're different around money. So there's 4 types of people, and we'll go over that today because it's not necessarily that they're your opposite, it's that they're different than you are. When you get with someone who has a different relationship, that's the word, with money than you do, then it can be a challenge because it's easy to judge the other person and think that their way is just wrong. When in all actuality is to understand that there are strengths and weaknesses in all the different types of relationships, the 4 basic relationships around money. There are strengths and weaknesses at both, and that you just may only be seeing the weakness and not seeing the upside. Right. But there is an upside. So that one is a good and bad thing, that there are 4 types of relationships, and we'll cover those in just a moment here. So the bad side of that is that you can tend to judge the other person. Now, here's a good thing around money and marriage. Do you all know that it's already documented, history shows it for decades, that those of us who are married, we actually make more money. That married couples make more money than single individuals. Right. Of course, you have to compare apples to apples, right? You can't take a typical couple and then compare them to Jay-Z. I mean, that's not fair, right? So you have to compare apples to apples. But married couples, again, the track records, the numbers prove it. They say people may lie, but numbers don't. So It's already out there. This is not a theory. This is not a philosophy. It's not a concept that we're, making up. It's something that's factual, that you make more money in a marriage than you do when you're single.
Yeah, it's been said that the marriage unity or the marriage union is the largest wealth generation entity on the face of the earth.
Yep.
If done right, if done God's way. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to go over the principles around that. And hopefully you guys got a chance to see our clip from CBN that aired on yesterday. And we were so gracious to be able to share our testimony, our financial testimony, which is one of them, with CBN. So that posted yesterday, and oh my gosh, our inboxes have been blowing up.
Yeah, so you guys check it out.
It's been all a good thing. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out because we talk about money there too.
Yeah, in fact, we're going to post a link on our page here tonight. I actually have someone working on it as we speak because CBN had it tied in with a bunch of other testimonials as well, so it made the video 57 minutes, but we're shortening it down to the 4 minutes. Yeah, he's working on it right now. So tonight, you guys, we'll probably post it in this page and on our YouTube channel as well, so y'all can see it. Those of you who have not seen it, all right?
Yes, okay. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so staying on track. So we talked about a couple of good things and bad things around money. The biggest good thing is that you make more money together than you do alone. Hey, I think that's an awesome thing to hang on to, right? Yes. Marriage has bragging rights. I think that, so here's the second thing I want to say to you guys. Money is an amplifier. Money is an amplifier. Money makes you more of what you already are. So if you're a good person, money's going to turn you into a saint. If you're, questionable, money's going to make you, terrorist. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Seriously, because money is an amplifier. It just makes more. It's funny, in some of the wealth classes I've been privileged to teach in the past, people would ask me questions like, what's this thing people say that, money is the root of all evil? And I always tried to remind them, I said, look, I never heard of a rich person robbing a bank.
Right.
Right? I always heard of a poor person who robbed a bank. It's not that money is the root of all evil, it's that money amplifies things, right? So if you don't have any money, it makes poverty even harder to deal with, more to deal with. If you already have money, if you don't understand how to work with it, hey, guess what? It can be the death of you, really. So money amplifies. So keep that in mind, all right? Any comments on that, babe?
Yeah, absolutely. And if we all know the word says, because people misuse that scripture all the time, they say money is the root of all evil, but the Bible says it's the love of money that is the root of all evil. So there's a huge distinction because people will do anything that they love for anything that they love, And when it is an entity like money, then sometimes they tend to compromise themselves. Even, you'll have women that'll compromise their bodies. You'll have men that'll cheat with women and just to get some sort of financial gain, or they'll even marry women to this show, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it, but something I was watching when we were traveling over the weekend, and there's this man, he was saying, well, no, I don't really love her. I just married her because she can help me with my music business. I'm like, wow, that's so deep. But it's so true, and it happens all the time. So, that's a big deal, right?
It is. It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
Money can either govern you or you govern it, right?
Absolutely. It's an excellent serve, but a horrible master.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are two popular ways that couples like to deal with money, and you'll find that this is probably true in your marriage, one of the two. There are two ways that couples like to deal with their money, and that's either they come in and they say, we bring it all together in one pot, or they come in and they say, no, you got your money, I got my money. We just split everything in half. No, seriously, it sounds crazy, but that's fine. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. Somebody may look at ours and think that our way is crazy. But we believe in a union. We believe in oneness. We believe in that, hey, you left your individuality alone the day you said I do. You left it there. So for us, we didn't carry that into our marriage. We bring everything into one pot, and then from there it gets divvied out. Now, from there, my wife does have an account, which we'll talk about in a second. I do as well. But we'll get to the details of that in just a moment, where she has full access. She can do whatever she wants with that money. She doesn't have to talk to me about it. It's all hers. She can do what she wants. But everything is filtered out of that one into all of those others. Yeah. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in detail in just a moment here. But we highly suggest, if you're struggling with if you guys are having a whole lot of problems around the one that's hey, you got yours, I got mine, you might want to consider doing it together, because it builds a different type of muscle as well when you guys have to come together on your money. I mean, it may be coming in from two different sources, but it ends up in the same bucket. That's a big deal when you can do it that way. I promise you guys, it'll really be a blessing to you if you give it a shot. Try it with the rules that we're going to share with you today and see how it works out for you if you haven't already.
Right, absolutely, babe. That's a really good point. A really good point. So now I think we're moving a little bit too fast, because what about the people who haven't been married yet? What are some of the tips that we can give them? I think that's a big deal. The people that are single, how should they handle their finances before marriage, and what should their finances look like before they actually get married?
Okay, so when you ask that question, in what direction specifically? Because I just want to make sure I'm not going off of what you're thinking.
Okay. So just anyone, like, for instance, I'm sure there's some single people on here and they want to know, man, what should I do to prepare for my union? What should I do to prepare for my marriage? So that's,
So just generally speaking.
Yeah, so just generally speaking, like, who should they show up as? Who should they be? What should their finances look like going into any type of union? Like, for example, for me, I know that one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that I knew I had decent credit. So that was one of my plans when I actually, before I got married, is to make sure that my credit was okay. I mean, my plan didn't actually go as I wanted it to, but that was one of my goals going into marriage before I got married, to make sure that was taken care of. Another thing too, like Shakira even agreed, she said, great question, Belinda. So another thing too is making sure that you're okay with budgeting, that you are a budget conscious person. Like when you go into like your finances, say for instance, you get paid $500. Now, do you look at that $500 like all of this is my money to go spend on me because I don't have any bills this week? Or are you, the type of person who likes to plan around money, who respects money, who actually takes that money and then you say, okay, well, 10% is going to go back to God, 15% is going to go to my expenses, 20% is going to go to my savings, and then I'm going to also pay myself. So, I mean, just like those types of things, I think it's important for us to all have a plan. And hubby and I, we're not going to go over all of that tonight, but we certainly believe that it's a good idea for you to be comfortable with budgeting, so that if you get married, you're not the weak one in the relationship. Wouldn't you agree, babe?
I think the biggest thing around that for me that I would say to anyone is prepare for your marriage.
Yeah.
And what that looks like is, when there was the story of the two horses. One horse pulled 800 pounds, and you thought together they'll only pull 1,600, but together they pulled 16,000 more. So they were able to pull more together than they did separately. So, but that was because they combined their strengths. And so what I would suggest, because we can get into all kinds of details, I mean, but everybody has a different strategy, but generally speaking, I would suggest get ready for your marriage. So what does that look like? Here's what I did. When I was getting ready for my marriage, I was literally taking my money, I would split it up. I had my savings account, I had my checking account, I had my bills, I had my emergency fund, and then I had my future. And my future was with my marriage and my kids and all that. So people like my mom, as an example, because when you're single, it tends to be like the people who want to act like your spouse tend to be family members, and they want to come in, hey, you're making good money, can I borrow some? I literally would say to them, I'm preparing for my future, my wife and my kids. So here's all I can contribute right now. That was how I did it. In other words, I made space for where I was going now, instead of waiting till I got there. So divvy up your money and make space. Be ready. Matter of fact, set a dollar amount that you want to have going into the marriage. Hey, baby, I brought $50,000 into this marriage. I've been waiting for you. I've been preparing for this. Hey, I brought $100,000. Hey, I brought $10,000. Whatever it may be, but make space now for what you are living into. That's the way that I approach really anything for the future. So marriage and children and family wouldn't be any different. Just make space now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, great question. Great question.
Yes.
All right. So, can I move on?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I got the next one here is
Hi, Sherry. Cam.
They're usually of course they're in a relationship, there's two of you, and one is usually stronger than the other when it comes to managing money. And the way you can judge that is the person who tends to be the saver should be the one to manage the money. Now, it doesn't mean that you both don't save or don't have the ability to save, or it doesn't mean anything negative. It just means that this person, if you gave them $10, they probably would save 11. Don't ask me how they did that, but you get the point. The point is they're the person who more than likely would have the money. So
they got the green thumb on money.
Exactly. So whoever that person is should be the one managing it.
Right.
And the reason we say that is because obviously that person is more than likely not going to be making emotional decisions around money because their default setting is saving. And so that's why they should manage it. How many times you heard of somebody who had to explain to the wife or had to explain to the husband what happened to the rent money, what happened to the mortgage money? That person should not be handling the money, all right? Now, of course, they both should have access to the money, but the person managing the money should be the one that tends to be the saver.
Absolutely.
Comments?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree, absolutely. Okay. And also, there's a balance. Hi, Sharonda, thank you for joining us. There's also a balance to that as well. You want to make sure that the person that's saving also keeps in mind that they also have to be good with allocation of the funds, because you'll have people that want to save money and there's no grocery in the house, but they make sure they saving though. So it's about balance, but definitely you want to make sure that the person that's loose with the money is definitely not the saver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Not responsible for
managing it, right? Exactly.
Yes.
That's definitely key. Okay, so. One of the first rules around finances, in order to multiply it, multiplication when it comes to money is what everybody wants to do. I would rather do 8 times 8 around my money than 8 plus 8. 2 different numbers. All right. And so my point in saying that is, if you want to multiply your money versus just add to your money, here is the biggest thing that you can do. The biggest first domino. You know how you line up the dominoes and you can knock over each one? Or you can do what? Hit the first one. Well, this is the biggest first domino when it comes to finances. Tithing.
Ooh.
Tithing.
Yes.
Tithing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say it one more time. Tithing.
Yes, 10%.
Do we even know what money is, where it comes from? Like, what is it? It's a piece of paper. It's currency. It's what's agreed upon, right? Mm-hmm. If we agree tomorrow that cell phones are the new way that we should exchange goods and services, then that green paper is useless. Mm-hmm. So my point is this: when we understand the rules that govern money, then we can actually be in command of what it does around us. Yeah. Most people, money goes around them or leaves them or just doesn't come to them at all. But it's because they don't obey the laws of money. And one of the laws, especially for us as Christians, is tithing. We've got to give God his 10% off the top. Now, I wasn't always the best at this. And in fact, the video that we talked about earlier with the CBN, the recording, is around this. That's the feature that they did, was around tithing. And in the beginning, I knew to tithe. I had done it before. I was never really consistent at it. And on top of it, I wasn't doing it off of my first fruit. I am in one of the 4 relationships with money. My primary one is analytic, which means that I find security in having the money or making sure that we're good with a safety blanket, that if we fall out the sky, we're never going to hit the ground because I got a nice stash down there, right? So that was me. So whenever it came to, now we just got an increase, say we got $40,000 and now we got to give 10% off the top. I'm like, man, that's $4,000. Exactly. Baby, the mortgage is $4,000. Let's pay the mortgage first.
Won't God favor us?
Yeah. We'll give God his money. What's God gonna do with this money anyway? He's omniscient, omnipotent, omni everything. He doesn't need this. So that was me. But my wife was the opposite. She was always the tither. She was always the person being faithful to God in that regard. Mm-hmm. And of course, through time and through conversations, through fighting about it, through struggling with it, we actually got to a place where we found a common ground. And now, because I'm the one who manages the money for us. So now, for me, whenever it comes to that, right at the top of whenever I'm going, tithe coming off, this is what it is. So much so, I'm anal about making sure that we get all of the expenses so that when we give this tithe money, we give the number that's accurate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to shortchange, and it sounds weird because I don't want to personify God, but I don't want to shortchange God. I don't want my tithe to be 9.9%. You know what I'm saying? I want it to be my 10% at minimum.
Yeah.
So, or our 10% really at minimum. So anyway, babe, I know you got a bunch you probably want to share on that.
No, you did a great job.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah,
You good?
did a great job.
Okay. So it's really important, y'all. Now, again, that's to have that blessed money.
Oh.
That's to have that blessed money. If you want the blessed money, you tithe. If you want the money that's not blessed, it's up to you. Go ahead and not tithe. Here's why I'm saying blessed money versus non-blessed money.
Yeah.
Non-blessed money, you might say, well, there's people who don't tithe, but they're millionaires. You also look at their personal lives and see how much trouble that money has gotten them in, or how many things around them is trying to take that money from them. But see, when you give your 10% off the top and your money becomes blessed, I mean, that thing, Fort Knox, what does Fort Knox have on God? No, for real.
Really?
Because somebody can get through Fort Knox at some point, figure it out. A man made it, a man can break it. But God around your money, ain't nothing coming through that, y'all.
Yes.
So we're talking about blessed money.
Yes.
So yeah, you can have money without tithing, but it's not blessed. It's unsecure. I would rather have a secured funding system.
And what I think is so amazing about that, because my husband and I have gone to several different like Millionaire Mind intensive workshops and different financial freedom workshops. So for years he has been like coaching me in that area and telling me, hey, do this. This was like even before I was really tithing seriously. He was telling me to do these things. And it's so interesting is that the common thread through all the people that talk about money management and wealth is that they give. They give back to church through 10%, or they give 10% to charity or what have you. But of course we're Christians, so we follow the Bible's way of giving, which is 10% back to the storehouse. So that was so profound that, you know, sometimes us as Christians, we struggle with it, but you have people that aren't even following, you know, Christ, not even believe in God, but yet they're following the principle of giving, which is so strong, because so often, you know, I remember I used to use this example all the time. The Lord put the world in a circle, right? And it consistently rotates around on an axis. For what? As a constant reminder for us that whatever we give out comes back to us.
Awesome.
Here's what I know for sure, is that we have the ability to create our world. We have the ability to do that with power simply because of the choices that we make. So the object lesson in nature, in the universe that God has simply placed in our galaxy through our world constantly rotating around the sun, is that what you give out comes back to you. What you do unto others, you will receive, pressed down, shaken together, running over. If it's good deeds, the Lord will overflow you with those things. So I think that's a powerful lesson to learn, and it's just a principle of giving. That's right. Pam Taylor said, we will reap what we sow.
That's right.
The good thing about that is that, Pam, I used to think that was only good. I used to think that we only reap the good things that we sow, but absolutely not. We also reap the bad things that we sow. And those are lessons that we're consistently like putting in our children on a daily basis. We're asking them like, well, mommy, I don't want to share my toy. Okay. So is that the world you're creating for yourself for tomorrow when you see someone else that has something you want to play with? Is that what you want for your future and for your life? So we're keeping this thing like real and consistent in their life so they understand that what it is you give, you're going to get that thing back.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Good or bad.
That's right. So what I got from what you're saying, the biggest thing to take away I just got from what you said was basically we're always reaping.
Oh,
we're
absolutely.
Always sowing, and we're always reaping.
Yes.
So even if we think that we're being neutral,
right,
we're sowing something.
Yes.
So be mindful then of what we're sowing.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome. No, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next thing we have here on the list are the little ways that you can break this down. Again, remember, y'all, we're here to give you some type of common ground, some type of starting point, some balance. I know it's going to kick in. Some type of, no, it's on. Some type of balance to help you all with this. So know that you can take these examples and, you know, add your own variants to it, right? It's up to you. But here is just a suggestion. So in terms of the accounts that you want to have, of course, you need a family account.
Right.
You need, that's that big bucket that we talked about where all the money comes in. You have your savings account.
So this is to assume that they're sharing money. Like if you're in marriage, you're sharing the money. All the money is coming to one pie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right.
So if they
Just wanted to
don't,
make that
if they
distinction.
don't, they're keeping things separate anyway. So they don't
doesn't-
need instruction. Exactly. So all right. So family, savings, an emergency, a business. Okay, that's, I put a little question mark next to that one. The reason is because everybody doesn't want to do business, but I think everybody needs to do some type of side hustle.
Yeah.
So whatever you want to call that one, all right. So family, savings, emergency, business, and the kids should each have an account. And one of the things with that is you want to start putting money away now. Even on their birthdays, start telling people, hey, give me $50, give them $100 instead of buying them a toy that they're going to throw away in 2 seconds. Not just the toy. Give them a book. Give them these other things. As an example, my brother, every birthday for the kids, doesn't give them gifts, he sends them books.
Yes.
Every single birthday. It's crazy, but a good crazy. So you want to do that because by the time they're 18, could you imagine if you've been putting $20 here, $100 here, $200 here, $500 here, by the 20 years later, 18 years later, how much could you be starting your child out with?
Right.
Anyway, so that's that one. And then, of course, the last one is the no questions asked account. The no questions asked account. And that one is for, remember earlier I said to you guys that all the money comes into one pot and then from there we divvy it out and split it up, all right? So here's the thing. When you split it up, folks, it's important that you understand this. Your spouse should have their own no questions asked account, and you have your own no questions asked account. That's the account where the money goes into from the big pot that you can use to do whatever you want. So let's say you guys combined, maybe you do $50,000 a year and your spouse does $50,000. Together in the pot, that's $100,000 in the house every year. So maybe you guys set that, okay, every year each of us take $7,000 each for the year to do whatever we want from January to December. That's your own personal money. That's your bills are paid from other things. Your holidays and vacations are taken care of from the other accounts, but your own personal money is $7,000 each. So now my wife, if she sees those red bottoms and she wants to buy 3 pairs, she can buy them. She doesn't have to say anything to me because it comes out of her no questions asked account. And that's why we call it that, no questions asked, because you can do whatever you want and no one can ask you any questions because that's your money.
Right. That's a good point, babe. And Mrs. Washington, actually, thank you, girl. Yes, honey. I was just supposed to be dating this hairstyle, but hubby fell in love and he's trying to make us marry each other. So, we're praying about that. But, okay, so she asked a question. She said, love the hair, Belinda. Thank you, girl. How should one tithe when at the moment you do not have a church home? That's a good question. There's tons of ministries out there. Find a ministry that you love and support support it. Support it with your financial means. Donate your 10% to them, and for now that'll be your storehouse. And then when you find your church home, you can then transition your 10% back to your church home. Yeah,
absolutely. And so listen, God said bring it to the storehouse. He didn't tell you had to come through the front door. So just because you haven't found it exactly where the front door is, here's my main church home, go through the window, go in the back door. But the point is get it into the house. So so tithe it somewhere, share it on in some ministry. So all right. So again, remember, guys, did we have any more questions, babe, or was that the
Well,
only one?
I think Mario did make a statement. We missed it. Go scroll.
He just complimented you on your hair.
No.
There was something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
Good information. I was just having the conversation with my single daughter, who would benefit from financial and relationship.
Okay, here it is.
Relationships according to finances. Oh.
So what is the question? Sorry. What is it?
Oh, no, it's just a comment.
Okay.
It was like, good information. I was just having this conversation with my single daughter who would benefit from financial and relationships according to finances. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
That's
stuff,
very
Mario.
good. It's very good.
Good stuff,
So our children are only going to do what we do or what we teach them.
That's right.
So that is very good. Yeah.
Okay. I don't see any more questions.
Yes. No.
Okay.
If you guys have any questions, please don't feel free to put it in the comments. In the comment section. All right. So let's move on. Okay. So we're gonna talk about real quick 4 different types of money languages. So I want you guys to listen for your money language because this is huge. Okay.
Yeah. And listen for your spouse's money language as well.
Yes, and then just keep in mind that it's not always good for you. Well, it's never good to actually have the same money language. Hopefully,
actually, there are two that can work.
The same, baby. The
Two
same.
analytics can work.
Baby.
Because they both want to
an
save.
analytic.
No, because they both want to save.
And no one will have fun.
No,
and they will be like
that's
the old
not
lady
true.
with the
Two
cats.
analytics want to save, but they want to have fun. But the difference there is that they both will be like, all right, $3,000 is good enough. They'll work. But what won't work is two amiables because they both will be broke.
Right.
But let's show them the four so that they can get it.
Okay, so
right
first
now
of
they
all,
have
the
no
first
idea what we're talking about.
the first one we can go back and forth.
Okay.
The first one is the driver. The driver and a person with the driver money language is the person who typically just, say I'm successful because I have money. Their driver money is what drives them. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
feel like my husband is that, but he's saying
no, she's got me totally mixed up. Here's the thing with a driver. A driver measures their life on the money. So what happens is when they don't have that money, they feel like it's over, they're dead, they lay on the ground, they're powerless, they're clueless. I have a friend who's like that, and that's why I'm trying to help her to understand the distinction. Okay. The driver is that person. Whereas for me, I can go to zero. Yeah, I don't want to go to zero. Here's what I do. I'll be honest with you guys. So as an example, most people get to zero and that's their zero. Here is my zero, 100,000. If I have less than 100 grand, I'm in trouble. That's me personally. Yeah. So that's where the distinction lies between the driver and an analytic. The driver doesn't have that. A driver, they literally, everything is money. If they have $2 million and it wasn't 2.1 million, they're not happy. Everything about them is shifted. Yeah.
So that's the driver, okay? Amiable is a person who looks at money with, love and affection. Money is something to make them feel good about themselves. Like, not necessarily make them feel good about themselves, but they get money and they spend it on people that they love. That's me. Hey, what can I say? I'm amiable. I am a love and affection. I have that type of relationship with money. That's who I am. Okay? And then you have the third person, which is an analytic, which my husband says he is analytic, and I agree with him. I definitely agree with him. An analytic, money means security. They feel like, hey, if I got money, then I feel there's a sense of security. My social status is based on my bank account. So that's a good and bad thing, but it's still what it is. It is what it is. And the last one is an expressive person, the person that likes to express themselves with money. That's the one who may have money, but you're going to see that they're spending it all on, looking good or making people think they got money. That's an expressive person, which that's why we said get to know what your money language is so that you can make sure that you guys aren't burying each other and that none of these are bad. I mean, they're not bad things. It's just that, like my husband said, if you have two amiables together, you guys are all going to be broke most of the time. Shakia said, oh no, I'm an amiable. Me too, girlfriend. Yeah, so I'm so grateful for my husband, who is predominantly analytic, because he helps to balance me. And I also help to balance him. Like, the family is safer because of him, but it's more fun because of me.
Okay, so let's talk about the strengths and the weaknesses of each, right? So the driver's strength is that they drive their success based on that, right?
Yes.
But the downside of the driver is that as soon as they don't have the amount that they feel like they needed, life is might as well just over, right?
Yeah.
The amiable, the upside is that yes, they spend money through love and affection and on people they love. Mm-hmm. The downside is they're the people who usually push them out at 70 because they gave away all their money to all these people, and then nobody remembers nothing that they did for them.
Right.
Really. The analytic, the upside is that they'll. With an analytic, you'll always have security. You'll be secure now, you'll be secure tomorrow, and then 10 years from now.
Right.
The downside of the analytic is that if they're too tight, those are the folks that you might call a tightwad because they don't want to spend money at all, like literally on anything. Expressive, the good side of that is that they're not attached to money like
They're
that,
gonna buy you them
right?
Ferrero
They'll buy you those red bottoms, and this is your second date. But the problem is with the expressive is that that's really where the money stays. It stays on the surface. It stays on the show.
Those people those guys that walk around and they have like $10,000 in cash in their pocket and that's all they have.
Yeah, and there's like $5 in the bank account.
Right.
But they got $10,000 wad on them. Right.
Yes,
exactly. But that's it. Yeah, they like to show that money.
Yeah.
So now
that person needs to be with a driver or an analytic.
Right. So now that you see this and you understand this, here's the thing. Now you get why your mate may be who they've been being in your relationship.
Right.
So that's why I want to take time to draw out the good and the bad.
Yeah.
So that now when you guys are talking, you can talk instead of argue. Because when you understand the other person, now everything that they've been doing makes sense. As opposed to you're an analytic and they're an amiable and they're spending money on all loved ones and you're like, they give money to everybody, but when we need it, we don't have it because you gave it all away. And now you're mad at them.
Yeah.
So instead of being mad at them, understand that, wow, that's beautiful. I'm happy.
They have that heart.
Yeah, that they have that heart to do that. Because if I forget, if I forget to, tip the waiter, they won't. If I forget to buy mom her gift for her birthday, she got me.
Yes.
But at the same time, now we can balance each other. Exactly. But you guys got to understand one another first.
Right. I can tell a quick story. When hubby and I first got together, I, you have family and loved ones and things like that, and you really want to help people, and that was my thing. I love to help people, and I believe that the Lord allowed me to have access to money so that He can use me as a conduit for people and to be a blessing for them, and I still believe that is so, however, in balance. And my husband really pointed out for me that not only if God wants to use me, He wants to make sure that I am operating in a place of honor and integrity around money. So that means not just returning tithe, but also being a good steward. And a good steward means that if somebody got bad money problems, they may be there for a reason. It's not my job to always bail them out. Sometimes I need to sit down with them and have a conversation and say, okay, I'm going to give you $10. And let me see how you handle that $10. So my husband and I'm so grateful for him because, like I said, that he's an analytic and I'm amiable. So we balance out each other. I made sure that we kept that balance in giving, and he made sure that we kept that balance in saving. So the good thing about it is that he then taught us together as a family, because of course how I did things as a single person is not necessarily how I can be successful at doing things as a married couple. So we came together and we built a foundation on how we would be and how we would show up to people in the world. So when people come to us about money at the beginning of the year, every year we'll say, okay, we have $2,500 in this account, and that's to people that are going to come and ask us if they can borrow it, and that's just it, And if we go past that number, whatever that number is, it could be 500, could be 3,500, whatever. Whenever we go past that number, then we're like, listen, we have an account that we use to loan money out to friends and family, and that account has been depleted, but I'll see if I can get it from someone else so I can give it to you, because we're being a good steward of that so that the Lord can now trust us in other areas. Now, that's not to say that if there's an emergency, we're not there for our friends and family, because absolutely we are. But that there are always those people that abuse your kindness. So my husband was so good with that. He brought that into my life, and I'm so grateful. My money stayed 2 months. Instead of what now?
She's silly. So no, seriously though, guys, it's important to do this because people are gonna still come to you and borrow, and it's just the way it is. It's the way life works. So set up your plan so you can have your integrity. So somebody might even have thought we were lying. Hey, we have an account set up and that account has been depleted. They might be thinking, oh, these guys are running game. They gotta find a way to tell me no. Like seriously, we did that so we can be in integrity.
That's right.
Because you don't have to believe me, but it's my truth.
Right.
And so, and so here's the last piece as we wrap this up here, guys, because we're already running a little lower. Yeah, we have to get our son. So listen, real quick. The last thing I wanted to say here is budgeting. Yes. Budgeting. Here is one of the most profound things that we have discovered around budgeting. not just the obvious stuff that you should budget and save your money and all of that. That's good, but it's for accountability. Yeah. Because look, if you don't, let's say we don't budget, right? Let's say we have no budget, and then my wife spent $3,000 on food this month, as an example. And I look and I'm like, okay, babe, $3,000 for babe, did we eat out like
every day,
4 meals out of 3 each day? Like, I don't understand. And so now, guess what? Now it leads to an argument.
Right.
Whereas if we had a budget and it's like, hey, listen, our grocery for the month is $700.
Right.
And do you agree, babe? Because here's why, here's this, and we go through the whole budget.
Yeah.
And she agrees. And then now that, let's say she spent $1,700 instead of the $700. Now I can go back and say, baby, you spent $1,000 more on the groceries this month for food, more than we agreed. What happened? So now you see how it's no longer me versus her. It's, hey, our budget.
Yes.
What happened?
Yes.
So now it's an accountability thing. So from a marriage, a relationship standpoint, budgets do more than just what regular budgets do. Budgets do all those things that budgets are supposed to do, but also now it's an accountability point, and also no argument. Because now it's a matter of, oh man, well babe, I didn't take into account that we had Maddie's birthday this month, baby, and that's why. All right. Well, all right, honey. So, babe, guess what? Next month, I'm going to buckle down, babe. I'm going to make sure we do leftovers. Maybe I can save us $100 next month and we do $600 instead of $700.
Yes.
Cool? And that's her idea to me. See how now, boom, we move through the problem, no issues. It's not personal. We agreed to the budget and it didn't happen.
And we stay in integrity.
There you go. So, the budget thing is huge, y'all.
Yes,
huge. So many other benefits, but don't really want to get into all that right now, just for time's sake. So, I don't know. I think we did a pretty good job in covering it. What do you think?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah?
I think we did. I mean, if you guys have any questions, you're more than welcome to contact us back.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Hi, Kim. What's up? So,
what's up, Kim?
See you on Thursday, girlfriend. Oh, I didn't tell her yet. So, okay.
Yeah.
But any final thoughts or anything you want to leave the people with before we leave? Because this is a huge deal. It's a huge deal in marriage. I mean, if I had to say one final thing, it would just be understand that marriage is a tool. Money is a tool in your relationship. You can actually use it to be a blessing or it can be a curse. And we should never allow money to come between our relationship with God or come between our relationship with our spouse. And I know sometimes we struggle so often because we do not have the finances, or maybe you have a spouse that's not necessarily grinding like you, or you have a spouse that's not necessarily showing up financially like you are. But why do they need to if you are? You know, if you do actually have somebody that is showing up and both of you guys are grind, who's going to take care of the family? Who's going to take care of the home? What about the kids? You're going to have a lot of disappointed, lonely, abused children if both of you guys are doing the same thing. So I believe that is so important for you guys to realize that it's important for us to appreciate the positions of the other spouse and how they show up in the marriage. It's not necessary for everyone to do the same thing. Maybe the support that is equal to your financial support is your spouse actually being there and being present in a way that you can't be personally. And I believe that role in your life needs to be appreciated just as much as the value that you give, the money that you bring in. So we have to really realize and appreciate that space. God is not going to give us all a grind. He's not going to give us all the driver position in a relationship. So appreciate and respect the fact that your spouse is different from you. And if you allow them, they will actually compliment you. So look at it from a different perspective. Share your money, guys. That's the only way for you to have a true integrity in your relationship. And just understand that as you do that, as you sow good seeds of faith and love, joy, respect for each other, and love for one another, then you'll begin to reap those things, those seeds in your love and in your relationship. So we absolutely wish you guys the best. We love you, and we hope that this was a blessing to you. But if you have a final word, go ahead. Absolutely.
So the last thing I wanted to say is it's really twofold. Money, the purpose of it is to purchase experiences. Money, its purpose is to purchase experiences. I absolutely feel, and this is one of the reasons why I know I'm not a driver, I know I'm an analytic because at my core, I feel and I have a belief system that one of the dumbest people is the one who dies with all his money.
That's so true. Yeah.
That's my core. I've been that way for decades now. So let me say that again. The purpose of money is to purchase experiences.
Yes.
That's its purpose. It's what can you use it to create. Even if all you got is $2.50 and it's your kid's birthday, go and create a fabulous $2.50 memory.
Yes.
They will not remember the $2.50. They'll remember what you did with it.
That's right. How you showed up.
The purpose of money is to purchase experiences. The second thing, because I told you it's twofold. The second thing I will share with you all around money is this. That thing with the budget. Budgeting is not just for accountability. It's also a place where you two can learn to have the same dreams. What do I mean? One of the challenges with not having a budget is that you're both looking at two different things. Wow. You're an amiable, she's a driver. You're an analytic, and she's a what?
The other one.
I forgot.
Me
the
too.
other one. Oh, Jesus. Okay. The expressive. Yeah. And she's the expressive, right?
Yeah.
And so now here you are. You're both looking at two different dreams. You're having two different dreams. The analytic is dreaming about, man, another 5 years, 60 more months, and we're going to be millionaires. That's what they're looking at because they're saving, getting the security in place. The amiable is looking and saying, ooh, 5 more days before I buy that new car.
Woo!
And so now they go spend the car money that you were trying to use to make the millionaire side of it. Yeah. You see how your dreams now conflict? So budgeting gives you a chance to have the same dreams. Because if the person wants to buy the car and you want to save to be a millionaire and you guys go to create a budget, now you can say, well, I want to buy a car. Well, I didn't know you wanted to buy a car. Well, I want us to save for being a millionaire. Oh, I didn't realize we were doing that. See? Boom. See how the two different dreams now come together? And now you can say, all right, well, when were you trying to buy a car? Well, I was trying to buy a car in 5 days. Oh, man, babe. All right, well, babe, how about if we buy a car in 5 months? Can we do that? And see how you come together? And they say, okay, well, how far are we away from being a millionaire? Babe, we're 60 months out. That's only 5 years, babe. Whoa, I didn't realize we were that close. All right, babe, well, let's put this budget together so we can get the car and become millionaires. Two things. Purpose of money is to buy experiences. Second thing, a budget helps you have the same dreams. So.
I love that. That is so hot. I'm so glad you closed with that.
Well, thank you, babe.
This
Thank you.
bomb,
You inspired it
baby.
because I wasn't even thinking about it closing.
You're the bomb. I remember you used to say that to me. Yeah. The purpose, like, oh my God. You need to act like this is our first year again and take me to all those.
All right, she's getting too excited, y'all. Stop me in this because
I need to have an experience.
I feel money leaving my wallet. I feel it. It's burning.
I feel it happening. I'm the amiable. I'm party time.
All right, y'all. Goodbye time before she spends all the money. Hey, y'all. No, seriously, though, guys. We love you all.
Yes.
This conversation was birthed out of that video, feature that just happened for us with Christian Broadcast Network with CBN. Again, we're going to post the link on here. It's only about 3 or 4 minutes.
Yes.
So please, once you see that link, please share it. The ones that are out there now are the longer ones, so that one you don't want to share those. You want to share the one we're going to post right here on this page. And in fact, maybe we'll even put on our individual pages too, babe, so that depending on where they find it. So, hey guys, check those out. Share it with your friends and family. You don't know who's going to watch that video and decide to start giving God their 10%. And now what they've been praying for. Exactly. Maybe that money is already there, just waiting for them to start tithing so it can be released. Yes. But we don't know. But it's up to us to inspire. That's all we can do. We can't make them drink, but we can inspire them to get to the water. Right. So, hey, if nobody told you today, Obi and Belinda Indu, we love y'all. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. God bless.
God bless you. Take care and take charge of your finances.
Good night, guys.